The most common mistakes investors make. Let's do it this way. To keep it brief and not take up too much time, I'll share two short cases. An investor comes to us who, before knowing about our company, had already invested through another agency. He comes to us for a consultation. And it so happened that I met him personally in Bali when he flew in, and my manager had invited us to the meeting. I often enjoy meeting with investors and interesting people. He starts telling me about his purchase, and as we talk, I realize that he doesn't understand that his property is located on Greenland. That's a completely different topic. There's zoning, land designation. And basically, to make a long story short, it's Greenland, so you can't build there, or if you can, there are huge restrictions. So overall, the main point is that the investor invested based on a pretty picture. I know that this project sold out in just a few hours with the developer. It was a hot property and so on. But the moral of the story is that even the agent himself didn't know that the project was on Greenland. This is a very common and quite frequent mistake. Investors often rush in, trusting managers who are just really good at selling and making things look incredibly attractive. Of course, it's important for a manager to know how to sell, to be polite, and so on. But at the same time, they need to be a professional. Often, there is a conflict of interest in real estate agencies. Professionals are expensive, brokers, professional brokers, and they're boring, they have spreadsheets, and they're not good at selling. So who sells well? The pushy salespeople. Those people who are great at pushing, great at selling, but their qualifications in real estate are quite low, and so on. What's my point? This example shows that just by not asking questions, not doing due diligence, not even doing the most basic independent check, you can do it yourself after all. Take the documents, I mean the real estate agency, get your legal department, have your lawyer check the project documents, at least then you'll understand what you're selling. Actually, the second case is absolutely outrageous. I was going to tell a different one, but this one is more interesting, the one I just remembered. I get a call personally from an agent at another agency, our colleagues, and he says, "Valentin, listen, help me figure this out. Something strange is going on here." So, to sum up the whole story, the developer provided documents for the land. These documents passed due diligence, everything looked great, everything was perfect, the zoning, the permits, all the paperwork was in order and so on. But then it turned out that this land, these documents, actually belonged to a different plot, not the project that was being sold to him. So, pay attention not only to the documents themselves, but also to which land they actually belong to, where these documents come from. This is a pretty funny case because obviously once we figured out the situation, we actually advised not to invest there. We saved the investor and that agent from making a huge mistake. About $300,000 was saved for these people, and there are a lot of stories like this where people enter the Bali real estate market superficially and unprofessionally and end up losing their investments. It's important to understand, and this is a bit about our approach, that developers are not interested in disclosing all the legal risks, and some agents aren't either, because it makes selling harder. Their goal is to build the property, sell it, and in some cases, they just hope for the best. They think, we'll sort it out somehow. The main goal of our agency is to protect your capital. To grow it, yes, but first and foremost to protect it. To achieve this, we conduct a strict selection process among more than 120 developers, choosing those whom we have checked them. 7 have passed our verification, and 3 more are currently in the process. In addition to detailed due diligence, we check the quality of construction, the equipment of the properties, and the specification of materials. Of course, this is something that practically everyone should at least be doing. But beyond that, we take many actions that are not so obvious. For example, we make personal acquaintances with every developer. Every developer whose properties we sell, I know personally. I am also acquainted with their financial partners. The people in whose names the company is often registered, but who are not the financial partners themselves. They are the signatories, the decision makers. And it is very important to know on whom your investment depends, who is making all the decisions, and it is not always the developer themselves. So you understand where I'm going with this. Potential conflicts, division of interests, and so on. Overall, at True Real Estate, we take a non-standard approach to analyzing developers and projects. We have a very strict selection process. A few days ago, we finished some very tough, unpleasant negotiations with one of the major developers in Bali, and we do not sell their properties. And basically, after calculating with them, yes, in that kind of discussion, we figured that our losses amounted to about $200,000 in missed earnings because we didn't sell their properties and people went directly to them. And that's because there are a number of factors why we are not working with them for now, yes. They don't pass our due diligence, which is also normal, but my point is that at True Real Estate, even at the expense of our own profitability, we stick to our principles. We have very firm positions on this matter. Our opinion cannot be bought. Many have tried, offering large sums of money, trying to get us to turn a blind eye to something, but we never do, even if it hurts our profitability. That's the key takeaway: your strength and safety. It's not about the form of ownership, but about the details of the contract and having a reliable agency that will support your transaction and later defend your interests.